we have an exciting announcement.
We have the new microphone, and I'm speaking in it. So hopefully it's good. I don't know.
So the last 2 videos we made, we literally had to sit. Sarah had to sit in my lap. So we
practically.
But now we have new mics. So that's our breaking news. But what is more exciting, that we got new mics or that we have official semifinalists?
I'm going to have to go with the latter option.
And so we talked about Australia yesterday being a semifinalist, but now we're going to talk about the Colombia, England. But also, there's a few things we're going to get to at the very end of this video. So timestamps down below, like always, because there's a few little tidbits I want to touch on. But I mean, let's get into this Colombia-England match. I mean, I think we knew this was always going to be a slugfest, a battle, a brawl, but it
Battle Royale.
Yes, it really was. We're going to read a little bit from this headline, and then we're going to kind of talk about it.
England beats Colombia 2-1 to advance to Women's World Cup semifinal against Australia. The tests keep coming for England at the Women's World Cup, and the Lionesses keep roaring. Alessia Russo fired England into the semifinals with a second-half goal to beat Colombia 2-1 on Saturday in a game that showcased the resolve of Serena Wigman's team and set up a clash with co-host Australia. "We always find a way, though," said Russo, whose goal completed a come-from-behind win after SANTOS had given Colombia a first-half lead. "One of the strongest things about this team is we never give up." England advanced to the last 4 of the 3rd consecutive Women's World Cup, despite going into the tournament with a host of key players out injured. England also had to contend with a partisan crowd of 75,784 at Stadium Australia that was hugely in favor of Colombia, and then there was the physical approach of its opponent, as the Lionesses were left bruised by a number of heavy challenges.
Yeah, this was a battle, and I think a lot of people know going into this match it probably would be, because they're both really physical teams. I mean, if anyone remembers, they did Colombia did a friendly against Ireland like a week before the World Cup, and Ireland stopped the match in 20 minutes saying, "You guys are playing too physical for us." Denise O'Sullivan got hurt.
Oh no.
So they are a very physical team. That's just their style of play, and we know England's pretty physical. They're physical too. I mean, they're known to put their bodies on the line. But going to this match, I mean, a lot of things actually kind of went bad for Colombia. In the first 5 minutes, they had to sub out one of their players. They got hurt. They got hit in the head. Then they got hit in the foot. It was just, and to use one of your subs in one of the biggest games of your life within the first 7 minutes or so. I don't exactly know. It says 10 minutes here, but for her to already have to sub out one of your players, it's already an uphill battle for you.
Yeah, it's not good.
But we knew that just because they were down, sometimes that adversity kind of puts the fight in you, though. You're like,
that's true.
You
got to work extra hard. You have to make up for it.
Exactly. It was a slugfest out there. We're gonna get to it at the end, but one of the criticisms of the game overall was how the ref kind of let the physicalities get a little too physical. But then in the 44th minute, I mean, I'm going to call it one of the goals of the tournament. This goal, this floater by SANTOS.
This chip.
Yeah, that's the question. Is it a cross? Is it a chip? No one knows. No one will ever know. It just floated right over Mary Earps, and it just was...
It looked like it was slow motion.
Yes!
Like, it was one of those balls where a goalie couldn't even get it if they tried, because it was, like, going fast but slow. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and seeing Colombia go up 1-0, it was kind of cool. To be honest, I was rooting for both teams. I know I'm team everyone. I guess I was rooting. I mean, I love the English team. We've talked about them a lot on our channel, but always a fun underdog story is fun. But then again, if Colombia is going against the USA, hell no, I'm not Colombia. I don't want Colombia to win. I would never root against England. I think there are some English haters out there. I think, because they've been successful. Anytime you become successful, you get haters. I honestly think. So that was in the 44th minute. Literally 5 minutes later in the first half. So we're thinking, at the end of the first half, we're thinking Colombia is going to go up into half, be 1-up. England hasn't even trailed in this tournament. But just 5 minutes later, Lauren Hemp scored. And that was, I heard some commentators talk about it, that was a mistake from the goalie Perez that should have never happened. It can't happen, and
it was a slip of the glove.
Yeah, and but England capitalized on it. They saw her make that flub. At that point, 1-1 going to half. You're all tied up. it was anyone's game, to be honest. Coming out of halftime in the 46th minute, I mean, the Colombians came out hot. They were ready. Yeah. I think in the 46th minute, I think they even had a shot. But in the 63rd minute, we had a goal from Alessia Russo. And it was a beautiful shot on the far bottom corner. Alessia Russo, she's a star. And that was a really cool goal. So at that point, I don't know. I felt like there was enough time for Colombia to come back. Mm-hmm. But then some kind of weird things started happening too. The Colombian goalie went down. And at that point, she went down. They were kind of looking in her eye. It's like, what's going on? And then a couple minutes later, they subbed her out. Yeah. And they already had the sub from at the beginning of the match. Then they subbed out the goalie. I don't think they were counting on those two subs. So at that point, I mean, it's an uphill battle. So they subbed out the goalie. They brought the new 20-year-old goalie in. That was in the 68th minute. And I will say the last 20 minutes of that match, Colombia was playing for their life. They were throwing everything at them. Tactically, I saw some of the commentators say, they weren't utilizing
Linda Consedo.
Yeah, they weren't utilizing her as well as they could be. But in the last 20 minutes, I felt like it felt a little bit of like panic soccer from the Colombians. Like, weren't taking their time, were just trying to fire everything they could. And I don't think that quite helped them at the end.
Yeah. I mean, it could go either way. Sometimes it can help you. Sometimes it can not.
But I will say, England never lost their composure. There was a few really close calls, and England said, "Nope, we have this. We're gonna win." Then I mean, that goal, that Alessia Russo goal, was the winning goal, and that was the game.
That was it.
And I think a lot of people have been giving the English team a hard time because they think they have an easy road, but at the end of the day, they've been getting by. They had not lost a match. A lot of the big names had all lost matches, and they were getting the job done, and they won their group. But one of the things we touched on at the beginning of the match, and one of the things that was probably the biggest criticism, was the reffing and how the ref let it get so physical out there.
You mean your favorite ref in the entire world, Sara?
Okay. Full disclosure, that's Sara and I's favorite ref. It's Katya Koroleva.
She's famous on this channel.
She lets it get a little physical out there, and she let it get physical. I almost had the thought that she knew going into there she was going to let it get physical. She knows these teams. She knows how physical. She knows.
She does her homework.
And it was both teams. Even though some would say they thought the Colombians got away with far more, but both the Colombians and the English team was very physical, and some would say too physical. The commentators commented on it twice. Fox Sports, the official Twitter, I had commented. They said all this contact and no cards, or no fouls, no cards. Everyone was talking about this, and I think it was a concerted thing by Katya to say, I'm gonna let them play. I'm gonna let them play, because some people, one criticism is some refs don't let them play. Also, we remember a couple yellow cards. Lavelle, I got a yellow card for
blinking.
Yeah. So the fact that some of these players did not get yellow cards, but it seemed I think she just wanted to let them play. I'll read you one of these comments.
Very poor refereeing in this England game. Colombia players now know only a broken leg tackle will result in a yellow card. Anything goes at the minute. Colombia were by no means a dirty side, and England weren't convent girls. But I don't know when the referee realized she'd left her yellow and red cards in the dressing room. Some of the Colombian defending and tackling would have made Norman Harris grin.
Not who sure who that is, but I get the idea. But so yeah, a lot of people said Katya, the ref, was not going to give out a yellow for. And then once you start a precedent at the beginning, the consistency also is what's important. But at the end of the day, Colombia was out. England prevailed. So 2-1 Colombia. They played their hearts out there. But England, England deserved it. Okay, so what did everyone think about that game? A few other things I want to talk about from our last video. So we put out the video about Australia making it to the semis and Kristie being there. It was so beautiful. And there was another WAG in the crowd.
Yes, Danielle von DONK.
Yeah, she was there.
Supporting Ellie Carpenter. So someone sent us a message saying that Danielle von DONK was visiting Ellie at her game, and Danielle was wearing Ellie Carpenter's jersey. Yeah. So supporting girlfriend.
She was there. It's really good to see her there. I wonder how long she can stay. Again, we don't know how long Kristie can be there. If Australia makes it to the finals, will DVD be able to stay there? I hope so. I mean, I love seeing them in the crowd. I bet she was like in the crowd, like literally that PK was that shootout was so gut wrenching for most people.
So intense.
I don't know how she could even watch it. Can't even imagine her being able to sit through the whole shootout because it was so nail biting. So that was good to see that she was there and supporting her love. Also, I believe Katrin Berger is still there supporting Jess Carter, and so she is there again. I wonder how long she's able to stay as well. So we have Katrin there, we have Kristie there, we have DVD there. Like we said, Pernilla went back to Denmark. And I believe, and we're going to do a couples update, I think, one more time before the finals out. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in another video. But it was good to see DVD there. Also, and then I actually want to read a couple comments that I saw in the last video as well. Talking about Sam and Kristie, one of the comments I did see was that we had talked about ESPNW had posted a picture of Sam and Kristie embracing, kissing after the match. And they posted it on their Instagram, and we had said, oh, they deleted it, which they did. And I kind of got half the story right. They did delete it. And we had said at that point, they were getting a lot of hate comments and people who were like anti-LGBT, but someone left a comment saying criticism for ESPNW posting is that it was their first post about the game when there was so much going on with the game. It seemed to cheapen how huge the game was for Australia in the tournament, which is that was the point we didn't get, that it was not necessarily about hate, LGBT hate. There was that in the comment section, but a lot of people were upset that they took an opportunity to talk about Sam and Kristie rather than the important game that actually went on between Australia. How important the game should come first, especially on ESPN.
Right?
That's sports. So people were really actually kind of disturbed and hurt that they were focusing on that rather than the actual game, which was so important.
Yeah.
We got the story a little bit wrong on that, but there was still hate. There definitely was still hate, but it wasn't all directed against LGBT. So I just wanted to apologize and make sure we got that right, because I would never want to twist that into something that it wasn't. So sorry about that. And thank you to Will who pointed that out. I appreciate that. So we did want to mention that. Also, somebody actually brought up a good point. Yesterday we talked about that some people thought the ref in the Australia game was biased toward, they were in favor of Australia. Ref wanted the hometown to win because there's a gain, some type of maybe financial game in FIFA if the hometown team wins. And then someone brought up a good point. Someone said, okay, biased toward the French, I thought. The ref gave them a corner from which they initially scored before correctly disallowing it. So basically we said in the video they were biased for Australia, that we read comments that a lot of people thought they were biased toward Australia when they gave that corner to France when they should have never gotten that corner. We're kind of like, we're kind of being, how could we say that they were being biased toward Australia when that ref gave the corner to France? So it kind of didn't make sense. It kind of was confusing. I guess what I was thinking in my head is I saw people online, there was more instances where the Australians were getting more breaks overall, even though that instances we point out was actually pro France. Honestly, in the comment section yesterday, most people just said, the ref wasn't biased. It just was a bad ref. One person said, the ref wasn't biased, just bad. She made some bad calls for both teams. Anyone who says the ref was biased was going for France. And they are just cut that France lost. Yeah, I think most people just thought the ref was kind of
making wild calls.
Yeah, making wild calls. And then also someone pointed, I think this will be the last comment, someone pointed out that yesterday we kind of, when we talked about the PKs yesterday, we kind of made a comment saying that Steph Catley and Bacha missed their PKs, but this person correctly pointed out that technically didn't miss them. The keeper just saved their PKs. Definitely want to give all the credit to the keeper who saved them, because you can either miss your PK, make it, or it be saved by the keeper. And we said missed, which it really is just saved. Those two were saved by the keeper because they were on target. So sorry about that. But yeah, what does everyone think? What did everyone think of that England game? I mean, are you an English fan who feels like they're getting a lot of guff from people that saying England don't deserve it or England are overhyped? And a lot of those mental games people can play with teams can really kind of affect the players, like, oh, people don't think we're good enough or people think we're overhyped. So were you one of those people who thought our American ref Katya was wildin'? Because she kind of was.
I will not tolerate any comments against Katya. I'm just kidding.
What does everyone think? Questions, comments down below. We're going to be back tomorrow with another video. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.